That's Keith's Tijuana greeting.
Hi everyone.
Hello Australia.
I'm Eddie Mort, and
I'm Lili Chin.
And I'm Keith Rainville.
And we're actually the creators and writer of Los Campeones de la Lucha Libre, the movie you're about to see.
And right now we are standing in Keith's Lucha kitchen. If you look around you, there are masks and figures. Actually, there's a lot more stuff here which you can't see.
It's 15
It's
years
amazing.
of obsessive collecting and trading ad space in my magazine for for trinkets, toys, and DVDs and other pirated video. So,
Okay.
And we just wanted to say, just where our influences for the movie came from, and we're all huge fans of Lucha Libre, aka Mexican wrestling, and my personal introduction was actually from the man Jay Katz himself in the early 1990s, who, at his Abercrombie Street Umeason archives, told me about these movies that contain masked wrestlers in Mexico, and I'm like, what, are you crazy? And then I actually saw one, it was true. He didn't lie. And that actually got me on the path to discovering more about Lucha Libre, El Santo, the whole thing. And this is how this movie happened.
in the early 90s, there was a huge zine explosion in the U.S., and a lot of us who had publishing sort of know-how and software could all of a sudden have a voice that you couldn't have in the previous decades. So I jumped in and did a magazine call From Parts Unknown,
Which we found in Sydney, Australia.
I had weird little underground distribution on 5 continents, and luckily Australia was one of them, because that's how we met.
It was 1999 that I picked up a copy of From Parts Unknown magazine from a comic store which now no longer exists, called The Land Beyond Beyond. And
on George Street.
On George Street. And actually I picked up 2 issues there, and that inspired us to seek out more Lucha Libre videos. We ordered tapes from the US. This was in a time when the internet was still a new thing. Ordering online was still a new thing.
Yeah, you didn't really want to do it because you didn't know where your money was going. So.
But you could meet a lot of people to trade videotapes online, and that was like where the huge kind of underground explosion of Lucha Libre as a sport in the English-speaking world happened, was in these trading boards.
And it was at the time that we came up with the idea for Mucha Lucha, which you may have heard of, for Warner Brothers Animation. They bought the show and produced a kids' TV series. But after doing Mucha Lucha, we wanted to do a show that was more authentic to the Lucha we know, that would
showed the whole deal, like the old movies, the actual wrestling that is today, and just be, like Lili said, authentic. Really.
Because there's more. There's Lucha Libre the sport. There's Lucha Libre the movies. There's Lucha the actual culture, the pop culture that's happening in LA and Southern California. There's there's different facets of this thing called Lucha Libre.
Yeah, and the character that was always missing from Mucha Lucha was the crowd.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that we all were on the same page on wanting to get right, was the Mexican crowd and the Lucha crowd and the ringside and the amazing environment that's such a huge visceral experience.
Yes.
You know, sometimes the ring is the secondary thing you're going to see.
Yeah.
And another thing we didn't get to do in that show was the legacy, the actual, just kind of like pay tribute to the El Santo movies, the Blue Demon movies, Mil Mascaras, the whole thing. So we managed to get a little bit of that in there, a little bit of the whole how Lucha Libre is in Mexico, just a general feel, and we're pretty happy with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I guess without any further ado, enjoy.
Enjoy the movie.
Here's the Australian premiere of Los Campeones de la Lucha Libre. Enjoy.